Hello, my name is Diego Cadena, aka RandomKooldude, aka the man with the hat, aka I don't do much AKAs. So yeah, this is commentary for my Toriel speed paint. Actually it's not a speed paint, it's more of a time lapse. I've done these before, the videos, but joining me today is AnnVolans from Tumblr. If you don't know who she is, you should. I'll put a link down in the description so you can see it. But anyway, I basically wanted to do this for the sake of the pun. Just doing Toriel because of Pi Day, good old March 14th.
Yeah, you should tell them how someone didn't get the joke.
Yeah, when I first posted this, someone got kind of salty, and he said, Pi is not pie, the food, it is the mathematical equivalent, etc., etc. And I didn't have to say anything. One of my other commenters said, dude, it's a pun. It says so in the description. So, that was kind of amusing. Oh, all those arrows right there, speaking of the art, I had some when I was wanting to render and wanted to have my light source. This is where I'm still blocking it in.
And for those who might not know Toriel, I want to explain the pun itself.
People don't know Undertale? No, I'm joking. Actually, I actually have met people who don't know Undertale, but basically, in the game series, Toriel is one of the monsters whom you encounter. And she loves puns and very bad jokes.
And she loves pie as well.
Yeah, you're right. And she bakes you cinnamon or scotchaman, depending on what your preference is, kind of pie. And that's kind of her, I guess you could say her theme food. Like Sans is hot dogs, Papyrus is spaghetti, Undyne is... I don't know if Undyne is... No, I don't think they really have one. Anyway, we're getting off topic, but that's what the commentary is for. But yeah, and so also one of the things she would like to do is be a school teacher. So I thought she would totally take advantage of the day to make a pie, but she doesn't really need an excuse to make one. It's interesting watching through this playback. Oh yes, I take tons and tons of reference photos, not only of Toriel, but I looked up pictures of goats themselves, and the one goat that seems to be most like Toriel is the Savannah goat, I believe, because it has those ears. Because usually when you think of goats, you think of pointy ears, almost like a horse.
So do you want to tell the audience about the pie crust incident?
Oh man,
well, it wasn't really an incident,
It's just
brace the audience for seeing
yes,
a lot of the time lapse involving how much time
yes
spent on the pie crust.
Yes. Not only with this whole ordeal, I should say ordeal. Well, when is art really ever anything but an ordeal? Oh.
Get to the point.
Alright, fine. Alright, so I basically spent over 2 hours trying to draw a pie crust because it has so many nodules and crudules and little bumps that I was amiss. And I'm thinking, how do I do this pie thing? I mean, right now, I'm still blocking in the shadows, trying to do the eyes first. With fur, it's interesting because usually you have so much line, but I don't draw the lines necessarily first. I usually do the modeling of itself. That's why she looks very smooth. Also, that blue line right there, I was messing around with her mouth because I didn't like the exact shape of it. It was somewhat interesting because I didn't want, even though I'd say it looks mostly on model to, that's right, the right term, on model, right?
Sure.
Alright.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Okay, to the actual game itself, I really wanted to pull more goat-like features. So maybe that's why the horns kind of curve into each other rather than being straight from her head back. That was another interesting thing I decided to do, rather than being straight on her forehead, above her eyes, the horns. It just depends on the different kind. Because depending on the fan art, the official art, yeah, there's lots of fan art. This is just another piece of fan art in the whole fan art. See, yep. Anyway, when you face her head on, her horns are curving inward, look almost cow-like, I think, because they almost make a circle within each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty typical cows.
Yep.
But you were saying...
I basically finished saying how the speed paint, how it took about 2.5 hours. We're not there yet. I'm still messing around with the shading right now.
No, I was saying you cut yourself off talking about the horns. How you looking at her head on, they curve into each other, and it sounded as if you were going to compare a side view of the horns.
The side view of the horns, they also kind of stick. They're kind of curving to each other as well. They're almost like little nubs. It's kind of hard to see, in my opinion. Yeah. So I didn't have too much to say. Just trying to see. Yeah, I didn't want it to be a smooth pie crust. Here we go into pie crust torture. Because I was very amiss. Had to use oranges and reds to try to get it right.
I like the word you used earlier. You said that pie crust has a lot of nodules and crudules.
Oh, I can't take credit for that. Totally feel strong bad. We wanted to be a whale scrubber.
Well then.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh well, it's still a nice terminology,
Yeah.
I think.
Yep, I'm getting into that, trying to figure out what to do. It's also interesting because he didn't want to get too dark, because otherwise the crust will look burnt. Also, I think the lighting itself. And it's funny, the whipped cream almost looks like a cloud right now. I definitely made it more solid, yeah, as it came on, but right now I'd use a different brush, like a pastel brush, like the chalk brush, because that had the right texture, but that's not a brush I usually use, so it was kind of a lot of trial and error. And then again, I did this around like 1 a.m. to 4 a.m., so that probably had something to do with it, honestly. What about you? You've had late night runs, haven't you?
Oh, I did those while I was still in college on actual paintings, but I can't, at least right now, I can't focus to do any digital work late at night. It just kind of lulls me to sleep.
Not surprising. I had to listen to a lot of power metal, actually. Not that I had to, but I really enjoyed it.
Nothing says a delicious pie like power metal.
Oh yeah. So this is where you can see I try to use a variety of colors and textures just to get it right.
Yeah, I say
try to.
Right now it has a pumpkin pie look.
Yeah, it did look like pumpkin pie.
That deep orange.
It's when I looked at pictures of bush cinnamon pie or butterscotch pie, I found out first off that they had no crust, so I had to change that up. And I thought about adding a cinnamon stick or cinnamon sprinkles on the top, but I abandoned that idea. It would have been too much. Right now, I think either finished it or gave up for it right now. And I'm working on the line. Now the line was pretty hard. Just because when you're up close, it's hard to draw a straight line because you think it's straight, then you zoom out, then you realize it's not. I actually use the navigator. Oh no, this isn't what I use this fairly often. I flip my drawings. Some people put them upside down or do both. Usually flipping my drawings really helps me catch my errors.
A standard art practice.
Yeah, except with actual traditional painting, you have to find a mirror and hold it up. So I think I'm lining the... Yes, I'm adding texture to the face now. Now you can see it look more hairy or fur-like. It's really hard though, all the lines. But I like to put my lines down first, then soften them. I think what I'm doing now is I'm also playing around how it looks. I picked a random color and I wanted to see how the brush would react to it. That's why I had all that scribbles around there.
Just basically getting a good feeling for this.
Yeah, for the brush I chose. And there it is, all those layers. Layer 1, copy 1, layer 5. I don't normally label my layers, but to my detriment. Probably just because I'm lazy, but I ought to.
Yeah, I will say that it's good. I know it happens where you wind up having to create a new layer on the fly, but it certainly helps. At least coming up with a name that will remind you of why you even have that layer in the first place. It helps. And merging them every so often when you're confident enough to keep those things together.
It's funny because unless it's a quick edit like a copy paste, I usually don't merge my layers.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I keep most of my layers the same if I ever create a new one. typically only have 3 or 4 at the maximum.
Wow.
Yeah. I try to keep any kind of... If I use lines, I try to keep all of my lines in one layer. All of my base color, main colors in another layer. Highlights, textures on another. And that usually gets I wind up combining that with the color when I feel finished with that.
Oh, okay.
Backgrounds, of course, would be another. Typically, if I scan in a sketch and color on top of it, I wind up ditching the sketch layer when I don't need it anymore, just because I do not like seeing so many layers.
Yeah, I guess for me, I like seeing everything because I can always go back to it. But yeah, the sketch layer myself, because I did draw this out first, it's pretty much nil or ill-used, never used anymore. Flipped it again. It's interesting because I had to really think through what would show and what wouldn't show on the layer.
Yeah, it's like the second time you're doing that.
Yeah, or I accidentally messed up. I could have accidentally done the same. Oops, I think I did do it. Oh well, we just have more time for commentary then.
You added in a duplicate there.
Yeah, duplicate. I don't feel like editing out though, so hey. Deal with it. It's fine. Besides, I can actually talk about the art this time.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
You take over.
Awesome. So, like I said, I was doing a good feel, but then I was actually looking at the reflected light. If you could see I had to think about what would be the darkest, but not just the shadow itself. Had to add curve to the horn to make sure it wouldn't feel... that wouldn't be almost absorbing the light around it. I wanted to make sure the white of the fur would bounce and almost catch certain areas. That's why I wanted to get with the fur as well. Even when I paint, sometimes I'm very lackadaisical in letting colors bleed into each other. That way I can have more reflected light being true to the color surrounding it instead of it just being a standard white.
Yeah, I like that touch because whenever we're zooming in at her ear, I like how there's a little bit of faint purple on the edge of her ear that's resting on the purple cloak. I don't know if it'll zoom in as I'm saying this. It's not. Oh well.
It's okay. This is where I use the multiply layer here to get the crisscross done. Then I lightened the opacity so it'd be more opaque, not so hard. Make it more blend to feel like actual
Lines and grooves.
Lines and grooves.
Stitched in.
Yeah, stitched in. Although using a mask layer could also work. And then just doing it like a light, opaque pencil or brush. It's interesting because the fur itself right now is really very sticking out, and I haven't smoothed it out yet. There it goes. This is where I was messing around with using black and white because I wanted to see desaturation. That's why I was like, now what I'm doing right now is trying to find a good color for the chalkboard itself, the balsa wood or whatever kind of wood surrounding it, because I didn't want it to just be a basic color or just like a standard, oh, what's this color, so I'm going to pick this. I wanted it to be fitting within the scene itself. So then I wanted also to feel used. That's why you have all those white around it.
Some text.
Well, actually, I did record myself doing this. I actually did all of the... I didn't want to just do text itself because it would feel kind of... It would just been too perfect. So I actually... What was it called?
Used it as a template.
Yeah, I used it as a template, but I could have also just used the text straight up. That was illegal to do so as well. But like, yeah, I liked the way it looked. That's why I texted earlier saying, "Oh, I'm proud of this," because I just did it over and it actually looked nice. I actually wrote notes so I could look at it later. Now I'm adding more detailed shadowing of the pie itself. Did the nose. Added more of a lip overhang. It's also interesting. I like that I decided to add some depth to her eye rather than just being a solid black. I don't know, maybe some people disagree with that, but I like that touch. And this is more smoothing out. If you can see the navigation bar where in the upper right hand corner, it's no longer there. I actually have it to the side so I can see the whole picture at once. I think that's a detriment sometimes of digital art, that you don't see the full picture. So having that to the side let me draw accurately the lines as well as having a close-up view at the same time. Do you ever use that layer?
Unfortunately, I don't use it very often.
Well, it helps me out. Oh, so this is what I was talking about. In Magna Studio, you have a option of seeing basically lines of lining everything in one layer, and you can change the color of that line, and so that helped me clean up all around it.
All those edges.
Yeah.
See that there was actually leftover strips.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Fixing the Deltarune a bit more.
The detail is just right.
Not as far as I could. Yeah. As far as I could. Having glasses kind of helps draw them because it's like, hey, I know what they do. Kind of, sort of, if not really. Yeah. Then I was adding shadows around the actual piece itself.
Nice touch.
Yeah. It's actually, thanks to the art I looked online, I saw somebody use basically a gradient for the background, and even though it was just though it was simply an obvious gradient, it made it feel realistic because the light source was stronger. Well, not realistic, just had a better sense of this was the wall rather than just being a flat nothing.
Yes. It gave it a sense of perspective.
I guess, yeah.
I guess.
Oh, now I'm using my. I just made made this up. My chiaroscuro layers, basically burn and dodge. Not necessarily burn and dodge itself, but definitely darken and lighten. I want to try to do my pieces without having to use those layers, but I know that I need to still use those edited layers just to punch it a bit further to make it look more realistic.
No, this video, did you also include some of the tweaks you made once you had finished this picture?
Unfortunately, no, I did not record it, but you will see it basically in a few seconds. The full actual one. And there you are. In the actual one, I made the eyes larger, and I edited the sleeve more, but yeah. So, anyway, there you are. Hope you enjoyed it. If you like it, leave a like. Again, I'm Diego Cadena.
And I'm AnnVolans.
Yeah, follow us on the networks, Twitter, Tumblr.
Wherever.
Yeah, and thanks for watching. Have a good one, guys.